Hey, homies. Welcome back. Welcome back. We're going to pick up where we left off yesterday about non-negotiable needs as well as your purpose and marijuana as medicine. Topics today. I'm going to start off because this is going to umbrella us into the entire thing. We'll start off with what your purpose is here. Your purpose here on this earth is self-mastery. I'm going to let that sink in. I know, we reach outside of ourselves, right? We're like, my purpose is to save all the kittens. My purpose is to rally the troops. My purpose is blah, blah, blah. But then you start to notice that as you grow and develop, those purposes shift. So are those your purpose? Or are those things that make you feel fulfilled? But is it really your purpose here? Because how do you even know where you should go or what you're needed for if you don't know who you are? If you don't know self, how do you know how to direct your energy and funnel your energy into avenues that you need to or that you think you need to? I also believe that your purpose isn't going to be something that you got to hunt for. It's self-mastery, and then because of mastering self, you recognize all these other things you can do, but they kind of fall in your lap. Because the law of attraction. Because you've tuned yourself into the frequency output that attracts what you at your highest potential can accomplish. Right? Because if you are not working on self-mastery and you're finding all these activities that you're labeling as your purpose, how do you know? How do you know? How do you know this is your purpose? You don't know who you are. You don't know self. And when you really think about it, you can have 1,000 things that you call your purpose in life, these things that you got to do. But what happens when you're not feeling well and you can't accomplish that purpose? Are you purposeless now? What's your point for living? Now, I battle these thoughts, well, not as frequently as I used to, but with depression, we definitely battle these thoughts. What's the purpose of being alive? The purpose is to the fine-tunement of self. Because what depression has taught me is that you cannot place your egg basket of purpose in the hands of others or in the hands of an idea or a concept. You just can't. Because it's unreliable. And it's also not for self. And when you already are struggling to have a good energy, a high energy, and you're looking outside of yourself to fulfill purpose, you are then putting your power, your personal power, into the external, and not self-sustainable within self to be recycled and reused. Whenever you give, it has to come back. Because especially when you struggle with mental health, you are much more sensitive and aware of how detrimental every decision, every action, every person that you interact with, all of that weight is way more, it's just heavier. It's more, it needs to be meticulous and thought through and observed and just and I think going back to what I was saying yesterday about depression being a gift, but that's why. That's another reason why depression in my life has been a gift. Because I recognize how valuable my energy is. I recognize how vulnerable it can be. And it's helped me cultivate a life that supports me authentically. In turn, accidentally running into things that I accomplish outside of myself that sure feel very fulfilling, but they're not my purpose. Because my purpose, if I'm not taking care of myself and doing what I need to do to maintain alignment and high vibrational frequency, as well as a positive mindset, stay within the law of attraction and manifestation mode, stay within my authenticity, all of that is more expensive than anything else. Like, that's more valuable because without those things, I'm a useless person. Without those structures, without that self-awareness, without that mindfulness, without that self-mastery that continuously you work on all the time because you're constantly growing and changing, without that, I'd still be sitting, wasting away with drugs and alcohol. And now what's my purpose? Honestly, I did more for people around me when I was on drugs because I had all the energy to give. But when I got home and I was alone, 7th layer of hell, because what's my purpose? My purpose is for others now. My empowerment lies within the accomplishments that I can do for others. And so then when it came to taking care of myself and I have no energy and I'm tired, of course we'll skip that meal. Of course we'll not shower. Of course we'll sleep in our work clothes and just roll out of bed and do the whole thing again tomorrow. And do you really think that the universe or God or this unconditional love energy that surrounds and engulfs us at all times, that's what it wants for you? Oh no. That's fine. Just throw your life out the window and be at service to others. That's your purpose. No, it's not. Because then why don't you feel fulfilled from that? Why do we still feel empty after accomplishing the external? Because it cannot come from the external to fill the internal. You need to fill the internal with what you got. And then let that overflow into the actions that support and encourage or help or whatever society, whatever you think you need to do. Because a lot of people feel lost. But I also want to ask you, are you doing every single possible thing to make you the best version of yourself? Are you? Every possible thing. And because the answer is going to be no, that's what shows me that's our purpose. Because that's the hardest purpose. It's the most multi-dynamic. It's layered. It's multifaceted. There's so much to know about self that how could our purpose be anything else but within ourselves? We haven't mastered this, and we want to master other stuff and call that our purpose? Knowing yourself is your purpose. Self-mastery is your purpose. I'm not saying you put a stop pause button on helping others and doing nice things until you summit the mountain of accomplishment of self-mastery. No, because A, you'll never summit that mountain. It's always growing. It's always changing. You're always on the route. You can only just know more than you did yesterday or more than you did last year. So that's one reason why not. The second reason is because why do you need to know it all, which you'll never know, to then be able to turn around and help the guy that's below you on the mountain? We talked about this weeks ago. If you're halfway up and you know how to get over that difficult rocky area at the beginning, why wouldn't you lend your wisdom at the portion and the point of your life that you have mastered? So but it still comes from a place of self-mastery. A place of, oh yeah, hey guys, I went through that section and it is tough. You're going to need an extra carabiner clip. I don't know. I don't mountain climb, but you get my point. So it doesn't mean you're not being an empathetic, compassionate, human being to others, you can still help that old lady to her car with the groceries. Just even though you still don't know who you are completely, that might even help you figure it out because you're like, wow, I'm actually a compassionate person who cares about the elderly. Maybe I should volunteer at a nursing home. Boom! But that came from self-mastery purpose. Because you might not have even been at the grocery store doing self-care, making sure you have the groceries you need for the week if you weren't on the self-mastery journey. So, that's it. Don't overcomplicate what your purpose is. And that's also why your purpose shifts every day. Like, I remember, like, 5 or 6 years ago, a client had asked me that, like, how do you find your purpose? And I really couldn't answer that because I personally was noticing mine is shifting every single day, every season of my life, every time I learned a new perspective. And I'm like, I really can't tell you because I thought it was this, then it was that, then it was this. But then what's the common denominator about all of that personal evolution is the self-mastery journey. So that's the common denominator. That's the root of what your purpose is. You are unstoppable in your highest potential, in your best form. You are. So, right. Your purpose could be infinite. It could be anything. Your external purpose. But that internal purpose, like the purpose, the reason to live is the face looking right back at you in the mirror every morning. Why were you given the gift of this body if it wasn't to master and unlearn every crevice and every corner of your mind, heart, and soul? That's already the most dynamic relationship you'll ever have is with yourself. So why are we complicating things? Seeking for external when really, did you go for a walk today? Did you stretch? Did you say hi to somebody? Did you talk to a stranger? Did you make someone laugh? Like, I've noticed a smile and a joke can light up the sullen, most sullen of people. But is that my purpose? To smile and make people laugh? No, because then I would do it fake if I'm not really feeling it, right? So what's my true purpose? To make sure that I'm always at a good vibrational frequency and state that I can authentically make people laugh and smile. So once again, what's the purpose? Keeping me good. Keeping me where me needs to be be able to overflow upon others. So don't complicate what your purpose here in life is anymore, man. It's just you. Wake up. What can you do today to master you? What responsibilities on your plate do you need to master? And are you really tired after mopping and it's getting you frustrated? Maybe you need more cardio. Maybe you need to work out a little more. Mopping shouldn't kill you like that. See what I'm saying? Like, there are so many things and doors and windows that get unlocked and opened when you go in the internal. And you think you got nothing to do. Trust me, you've got enough to do. Like, you should never be bored on this journey. There's no such thing. Because there's always the next thing you can dive into and learn about yourself. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful journey. So that is going to play into the shifting, right? So our purpose can shift because what about the next day? What you need, what you need to be good, to feel aligned and in tune and everything, is going to change. Like yesterday, I needed to take the whole morning off to regulate and ground my nervous system. So I did. But then got into my routine because that routine still does help structure my motivation and what I'm going to accomplish so that the rest of the week doesn't just keep dropping. So you give yourself the time that you need and then you shift your responsibilities. You do a little bit less that day, but you still do something. But that's the thing. Then the next day, now I'm up at 6:30 because I honored my needs the day before, but I didn't succumb. I healed. I didn't succumb to the uncomfortability and just write off the whole week, because that's what happens personally to me. If I drop the ball on a day, the ball is way easier to drop the next day, the day after, and keeps going. So, yeah, honored the need that I needed, but then still got back into that routine and structure for the dopamine release and the reward system and things of that nature. And then, so that means by today, I am not kicking my feet about the fact that I'm getting up at 6:30. I'm just like, right, because that's what we do. This is the schedule. This is the routine. I didn't create a new neural pathway saying that, okay, we just watch movies all day and now that's the rest of the week. I've seen my brain do that before. That we have had that happen because, like, why not, right? But here's the thing. I know it's not good for me in my highest potential, because when I get out and I get fulfilled by others as well. Even though I know I'm saying the thing to them to make them smile and feel good, that's a thing for me too. Once again, my purpose is me, homie. Yeah, I just made you feel great, but, like, honestly, I feel great because of that. So once again, it pours back in. So, and then this goes into the next topic of our non-negotiable needs. So I love that because now I remember where that came from, because I remember saying to my friend, I was like, so what are the things that you need, what self-care things that you need to do every day that you can't skip? Like, because there's, like I just said, like yesterday I was able to kind of change my morning routine, but then maintain my afternoon routine. But what are some non-negotiables about that morning routine that you can't omit? And my friend's the one who summed it up into the non-negotiable needs. She's got a smart mind for that stuff. I was like, ooh, that's good. So it summed up my long sentence into non-negotiable needs. Loving that. So, for instance, breakfast, tea time, and sitting with, like, meditational music in the morning. That, for me, non-negotiable. So even though the morning looked different than typically, that remained constant. So you can adapt and still maintain alignment. Just when you're honoring your needs, you're not stepping out of alignment. When you go too far and allow the comfort that you needed for that need to continue, even though the need has already been filled, that's when you knock out of alignment. You maintain the larger goal and the larger picture, but you still honor the needs along the journey. So you can stay aligned still, but be adaptable, do different things. Honor your needs, though. It's not about being adaptable because you want to be, I don't know, an extroverted, crazy lifestyle of, like, I have this and I need to do and this I need to do and I need to be able to adapt because of all these external things I'm doing. No, I mean, like, adapting with your needs, because every day that you wake up, you're going to need different needs. It's sometimes it's nice to have, like, 4 days in a row where, like, you don't need a little extra. You can kind of just repeat the days, but it's not really logical because you still need something extra, a little something that you didn't need the day before, and that's fine. Accept the you of today. What does the you of today need? But there are some things you may not omit. I think that was the most revolutionary thing that I've done for my depression, PTSD, and anxiety journey, was recognizing the balance between your comfort zone and expanding your comfort zone so that you can still do hard things comfortably. I didn't know that was an option, because when you put it in your head as a perspective of black or white, like, I'm in my comfy zone and then I'm out of it, I already feel like I'm having an anxiety attack just thinking about that. But if you think of it in terms of, I have mastered my comfort and my self-soothing techniques and my tools, I can accomplish something new or something challenging because I trust that I know what I need to like, I trust that I will be aware enough to honor my needs after trying the new thing. That's what expanding your comfort zone is. But when we keep saying things like step out of your comfort zone, I don't know. It just sounds hard. And it does sound also really empowering, though, too, because you're like, I'm growing, I'm stepping out, I'm being seen, I'm doing this. But does it always need to be so violent? I know maybe that's not the right word, but to me that sounds violent. Like, it sounds aggressive, right? And in the beginning of my journey, before I knew about cultivating peace as a way of mastering your life and like attracting what you need. I was like, yeah, we gotta disrupt things, anarchy, step out of my comfort zone, blah! And like, I also needed that energy then too. But then as I started to heal from that zone and that purpose-led area, I got to a point where I was like, oh, that's aggressive. And I don't want any more aggressive. I don't need that. I don't need that motivation anymore. It also didn't really help your nervous system because you're still spiking like this. Now I'm like, all right, we can expand, we can grow because I trust myself and it doesn't need to be aggressive or violent feeling or anything. Look at a seed beneath the dirt in the soil. When it sprouts, do you think like all of a sudden like drop D heavy metal like guitar comes on? It's like and he's like, I gotta like, no, it's not aggressive like that. It's like this beautiful like emergence, this becoming, right? Like why the lotus flower in I don't know if that's Buddhism or not, but the lotus flower is a symbol, as a representation of our journey, because the flower stem goes all the way deep into the pond and through the muck and the seaweed and the life, and it comes through all of that lack of clarity to the surface where it then unfolds. Slow, calm, peaceful process. We are the lotus flower. I'm telling you, you don't need to rip your skin off about it. You're gonna just open up. You don't have to peel back your own petals and be like, freaking open. Yeah, get out of your comfort zone. It's all right. It will all unfold as it will. We know this about the universe. We know this. It'll all unfold as it will. Just keep honoring your needs and supplying yourself with what is necessary to be the best version of you that you can be. It can be as simple as like getting routine haircuts and taking care of yourself. Like, it can be so simple, but it can also be so complicated. Like ditching a pattern of thought that is not good for you, or being attached to an idea that's no longer serving you. Like, those are harder because they're not so tangible, they're not so seen, and that's where meditation comes in, where you have to kind of carve out time to get into stillness and introspect on everything that's happening in here. You are not your brain; you are the observer of such. So take time to observe. Don't let it run amok. All right, for instance, when you see a bunch of kiddos running around, they're having fun. It makes you smile to see a group of kids doing stuff, right? So you let it go. You're like, all right, that's great. But then they're getting a little loud. They're getting a little hasty. Now they're getting too close to your house. They're starting to touch stuff on your lawn. Next thing you're like worried that something might break, and you're like, oh shit. They don't know any better. So it's not that you're trying to tell the little kids that they're bad. They just need to know the direction of where they're supposed to go. That's all. Kids are fine. They're good. So you just need to tell. That's your brain. You can't just let it running around, start causing a mess, and you go, ooh, brain, don't do that. No, change it. Redirect. Pause button. Show your brain where the door is, so it ain't Kool-Aid Man and through the sheetrock, okay? Oh yeah. Okay, so honoring your needs also comes with observing your thoughts and redirecting. And then I wanted to touch on this a little bit, what I said at the end of yesterday's episode about utilizing weed as medicine. Why I want to bring that up one more time is like I had a bunch of research out. I think it's soaked in here good enough because it has disappeared since from my saved area on my phone, but that's fine. So I did a bunch of research on it, and what basically the point is, if you're already suffering with depression, anxiety, PTSD, mental health challenges, your neurotransmitters and your production of certain chemicals in your brain isn't always, it's just, it needs support. It needs support. Sometimes they're not doing their job correctly. And that's why you have these symptoms. The symptoms, that's what those symptoms are. And personally, I'm not a doctor, but I've recognized that the serotonin that's created in my gut, or we all have serotonin created in our gut, is highly important to the functionality of my brain. More so than whatever else I was researching about other things, other chemicals. Everybody's going to have a different thing that's out of balance or whatever. But I'm noticing mine's the serotonin thing. Why? Because why is my depression and my PTSD symptoms so closely related and linked to what I'm eating? Like the health of my consistency of eating, making sure I don't go hungry, making sure I'm fed and with protein. Like, I need protein. Like, as much as I'd love to kick a French toast in the morning, like, oh, French toast, a little whipped cream, I can't. I can't, because I start to go to that seventh layer of hell very quickly, that slippery slope that we were talking about yesterday. So I'm noticing that whatever my special concoction of mental health challenges are, they rely heavily on that production of gut serotonin. So my personal journey has a lot to do with maintaining that gut health, that production, that protein, what needs to happen inside my body. Now, having anxiety, it can be very hard sometimes to get your body to calm down enough to want to accept food. You see where this is something I've been battling for a while, but we're like nailing it in like this year. I'm feeling it. It's a lot better. So then what, right? And I can do all the calming techniques. Trust me, like, I'm calm. Like, I'm doing the calming things. I'm calm. But there's something about that anxiety disorder. There's something, even though you do all the tools, you do all the distress tolerance, it just kind of gets in you, you know? And especially for me around dinner time, because it's like the whole day of accomplishing or doing things, and like I'm really seeking rest at that time. But then you have to really like shift into rest, which can take a little long if you have some nervous system issues that you work with, right? So then that's where the marijuana comes in. For me personally, I smoke around that time of day so that my stomach can feel the hunger. So no matter what is going on, because personally, weed just does not kick anxiety out the window for me. It just doesn't. And if anything, it can make it worse if I don't use this correctly and intentionally. So I smoke just to get that feeling of the hunger. So then I can actually put food in my body. Because once I go a little too long, the hunger shuts down. I don't feel it at all. And then I get actually physically nauseous and like gag reflex sick if I try to eat at that stage. That's too late for me. It's too late. So what it does is there's cannabinoid, I don't know all the science. That's why I had it saved. I'm sorry. You're just going to have to deal with my layman's terms here. But like, there's cannabinoid stuff. There's cannabinoids in our body already. Receptors waiting for the THC and the CBD. The THC helps with the depression. CBD can really help with anxiety. They're both together. Like, if you're going to go down this route, look into it. Research. I research this stuff, and I only buy strains that have both THC and CBD at about an equal level, and supply me with what I'm looking for medicinally. I'm not saying I don't also have fun. Of course, weed's fun. But the purpose is this medicinal property here, that it helps me. So the cannabinoid receptors are waiting for the incoming CBD THC. And upon binding to it, it helps those neurotransmitters in your mind. It can I forget what it was saying. It can substitute and become like, it can activate the transmitter that's needed or become the transmitter. I forget what it is, but it helps those neurotransmitters be able to receive and send the messages necessary to get your body back in balance. When you overdo it, when you overput THC and CBD into your body then just assumes you're creating it on its own, which you're not. So it closes down the cannabinoid receptors so that no matter how much you're smoking, it doesn't matter. It's not helping your neurotransmitters anymore, and it's not helping without the production of those brain chemicals. Interesting, right? It's very interesting. But becoming codependent upon weed will do the opposite of empowering you. It'll definitely take that empowerment away. Because when you need to chase anything throughout the day to feel okay, you're already out of alignment. To utilize a tool to get you back into motivation mode of doing your non-negotiable needs, like for me, the eating, there we go. Intention set, carried out, accomplished. So, and I'm not chasing this. I also don't rely on it. If I feel like I can eat dinner without it, I totally do. I'll do that. But I still will maybe later for bedtime or whatever, just to help my nervous system go into like a deeper level of healing than what I'm able to do consciously. Because I can get myself pretty darn calm, for sure. But it's not just about the calm that comes from it. It's also I don't know how to explain it, but this is what it does. Like, your brain goes from the self-sabotaging, right? And then all of a sudden you smoke, and this part of your brain with all your ideas all of a sudden starts to go, it's all right. We got this. Life is beautiful. Depression is a gift to show you where your needs are. Like, I was so surprised because it was only like 30 seconds before that I was like, we could just end it. See, that's what I'm talking about. And that's better than any depression medication I've ever been on. Why? Because I'm able to still function as me, sober. I don't need to wake up and rely. When I had a slew of medications to rely on, you have to take this at 6 a.m. You have to take this one at 10 a.m. This one has to happen at 12:30. Then you got your 4 o'clocks, your 6, and then your bedtime. That stripped me of feeling empowered at all. Like, now all I could think about was, where's my pill case? Gotta make sure the pill case is filled. Now I have water, but not for hydration, just to chase down those pills. Now it's placing your focus, once again, externally, outside of your needs. Now you're thinking your needs are the pills, and now that's all you're focusing on. So, utilizing weed in relation, in partnership with self-healing tools, with a lot of other things that go with my healing journey, as well as a partnership to the weed, I'm able to develop an empowerment as who I am authentically without any substances. And that is so, even on a hard day, I feel so amazing at the end of that day because I did it. And I did it. I raw dogged it. I raw dogged life today, and I freaking did a good job. And we knock that out, that evolution of growth out of our minds when we just hook on to the external substances. Because then we don't see ourselves getting better on our own. We see, and we go tell the doctor, or we go tell whatever, I'm only better because you increased that prescription. And now the empowerment is in the prescription. Is it good to utilize things like that as a tool and a transition to then eventually not needing the medication? Yes, because when you are that low, sometimes you need that to just keep yourself safe. So medication is useful, but it's a tool, not a life sentence. Because you should be able to learn yourself. And I'm not talking about extreme cases where there's like an actual issue with self-reflection or whatever. Like, I don't know that whole realm. I don't know all of the mental health diagnoses out there. But from my perspective and from the people that I've helped in my client sessions and things of that nature, I have seen you can pull out and learn yourself enough to then know what your non-negotiable needs are. And when you start supplying yourself consistently with those non-negotiable needs, you start to trust yourself again, which then inspires confidence in self, which raises your willpower and your actionable abilities. So once again, your purpose is yourself, so that you can get that trust, that confidence, and that the actionable accomplishments or the whatever actions you want to do from having that personal will. Yeah. It's all about you. I think, okay, here's the thing. I didn't want to believe this either, right? Because I thought I knew myself enough. Like, I didn't know how dynamic the mind, body, and spirit can actually be. So I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm searching for the external. And upon doing that, I forgot what I was going to say. Darn it. Right, I used to not believe that it was self, so it was like searching for the outside, the external, but you kind of constantly always get like let down, too. That's another thing about seeking from the external. It's not what you think you need. But anyway, but not knowing myself, and you're just blindly going into what you think is your purpose. You're constantly pushing it outside yourself. I never was making my own sustainable energy, and in turn, kept placing my empowerment in my actions, which isn't the vibe. Why? Because sometimes my actions need to be sitting on the floor and watching the same movie that I've watched probably 50,000 times since I was 8 years old. Like Braveheart, or The Patriot, Go Mel, or what's another good one? Seven, the movie Seven, or I could go on. I love movies. Gladiator, ooh, good one. Right, so sometimes that's the purpose for me for the day. And when you place your purpose in external accomplishments, you're going to start self-sabotaging instead of actually resting. You're going to start comparing the fact that you're sitting on the floor with all the accomplishments you could be doing, or the responsibilities you could be crushing, or the amount of like nonprofits you could be starting. But like, that's not the purpose. You're the purpose. You're the first thing that came out of your mom. You're the first thing. You didn't come out holding a briefcase. You came out naked, bro. You're naked and crying. Needs. Support and fulfill those needs. And you were born with everything you need to support your own internal needs. Why? Why do I know this is to be true? Because we are made of earth, are we not? When we go back into earth and we recycle back into earth, and then over time someone plants a field on top of that dirt from eons of humans buried under there ago, and we didn't know, whatever, and you're growing lettuce out of that dirt that then your mother eats as a salad, she got bits of people in her. Because we're all made up of the same things that the stars are made up of, and the earth is made up of: carbon, silicon dioxide, blah, 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 blah. So it all breaks down and it returns back to earth to be recycled into more people. So, that being said, so you're made out of earth. And what do we know about holistic, or not, maybe not holistic, maybe I'm not using the terms right, but like, what do we know about like earth medicine, right? That the answer for our ailments, for our sicknesses, for anything, the answer lies with the Creator. where you're from. It's like, yeah, it's you're made out of that stuff. You're made out of it. So why wouldn't that be what you need to support and heal yourself? Same goes for later on in life when you're trying to support yourself or self-mastery. You don't need anything else than what you were born with, because that's all the tools are all already in here. Everything you need is already here. You just have to learn how to access and utilize it intentionally. Your home is where your healing is, where your medicine is. So that's why earth medicine, self-medicine, and also your peers can provide medicine, because they are mirrors of self. And we are all from creation, created from this recycled earth. We are all one of this earth. So what you need is not located outside of you. What we need to heal topically, medicinally, is already supplied to us, because that's what we were created out of. Right. So all you really need is knowledge of self. Because, right, if you learn earth, that's another thing. I don't think anyone's really sat down and done that. Yes, we have a lot. We have figured out a lot. But are we really going to stake claim and say that there's nothing more about earth that we could learn? Same when it goes to self. We have not found all the herbal remedies on this planet. I'm telling you right now, that's impossible. That it's just impossible. There can't be a way that everything is identified already. Or there can't be, let's grind this up with this and make a poultice, and oh my gosh, I didn't know those two go together. I'm pretty sure there's more opportunity for that out there than we think. So multifaceted goes to say with ourselves too. When you think you've hit a wall, you think you've hit a stagnancy, recognize that you just haven't learned or unlocked the next thing internally that's going to solve the external. And that's all. Seek it within self. Seek it within source. Your source. Earth is source. God is source. Right? The sun can be a source. The source of light for all of earth that makes anything grow. That could be source. Honor source. 1, 2, 3. Source. Honor it. All right. That's all I got for you. I was hype about that one. I feel a lot better and more clear than I did yesterday. See, you can, watching me every day, maybe you've noticed that. Maybe you've seen that. Maybe if you're a regular repeater of this channel, you've seen that versus today and yesterday. I'm a little more clear-headed, a little more concise with my vernacular, right. And that goes to show you how affected our nervous systems get when we have the situation that I had, where the anxiety flare up, depression flare up, PTSD symptoms flared up. Right? So it goes to show you these aren't things that you could just also go through and then just expect to be done an hour later. It's not how it works. It's a constant state of self-awareness. And I personally know myself, if I take that half day like I did yesterday, it'll set me up and support me for this day and the rest of the week. So that's honoring my needs. My purpose shifted that day. But it's all good. I maintained alignment with the ultimate goal, which is self-mastery, authenticity, and that. Because then that flows onto other things. Excellent. Great. Thanks for coming today. I kept this one at a better time because I'm not watching an hour-long video. I appreciate those of you who watched that long one yesterday, but that won't happen again. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.